Howdy, and welcome to episode 17 of the WP Hackercast. If you're a regular listener of this podcast, you will know two things. A, this podcast is about a week late. I usually publish a podcast every 2 weeks, and this one should have gone out last week. And secondly, this is also not the podcast I promised you at the end of the previous podcast. So at the end of the previous podcast, we said that the next one would be part 2 of my interview with Corey Maas. Unfortunately, that had to be pushed out by a few weeks, so that is still coming up, and that is scheduled to be recorded in the next few weeks. This week, I revert back to the regular schedule, having my bi-weekly, at least, update chats with Craig, chatting about all things entrepreneurship, a brief discussion about my trip to WordCamp Europe, very brief, and the next sort of plans and steps that I have for my online business. This podcast, being the fact that it's a week late, means that you can expect another podcast next week. I'm recording that podcast this Friday, and then from there we will continue back to the podcast being published every 2 weeks. So I apologize for the delay and the mix-up from my side, and I hope you enjoy the next episode of the Makercast.